Hi everybody, Mr. Burke again, and today we get to read Chapter 3 of Clementine and the Spring Trip. If you remember in Chapter 2, we found out all about the cloud. This yucky, smelling odor that they don't know where it comes from, that's on Bus 7. They're hoping they don't take Bus 7 to their field trip. We'll have to see. Let's read Chapter 3 and find out what happens next. From the back, my mom still looks like my mom, but from the front, these days, she looks like a pear, which is lucky for her because I am even better at drawing fruit than people. There she is. If you remember, Clementine's mom is pregnant. She's going to have a new little baby brother or baby sister. When I got home from school Monday afternoon, she looked so round I grabbed my sketchbook to make a picture. I drew a floating pear, and then drew overalls on it. Then I put my mom's head on the stem, added arms and legs, and erased the leaf coming off her shoulder. Here is a picture of that. When I showed the drawing to my mother, she went into her bedroom to look at herself in the mirror. I heard her sigh a couple of times. "You're right," she said when she came back. "I look like a pear." That is how good of an artist I am. In my drawings, people even know what fruit they are. My mom lowered herself onto the couch. She patted her belly, which looked like it had a watermelon strapped to it, and sighed again. I miss my waist. I looked at my drawing and then at my mom's belly, trying to figure something out. "Mom, where do all your guts go? Like your stomach, or your lungs?" My mom laughed. "Oh, everything's still in here. The baby does make things a little crowded, though, a little squashed. And it's a good thing skin is so stretchy, because this little guy or girl is still growing." I erased the clogs from my mom's feet and drew on her favorite shoes, green, sparkly dragonfly high heels, which she can't wear anymore because of having pregnant feet. Then I put down my pencil. "I still can't decide what I want it to be," I said. "If it's a boy, then there will be 3 people on the boy team. If it's a girl, we'll have another one on the girl team. But it won't be just you and me anymore. I don't know which is better." "What do you mean? You think there are teams in this family?" "Of course! You and me, and Dad and Watercress." "First of all, your brother's name is not Watercress. And second of all, is that really how it feels to you? As if we're on different teams?" "Well," I said slowly, since suddenly I didn't know if I did or it didn't. My mom rolled over on the couch to face me. "Maybe you could think of our family as one team together," she said. "But we're not the kind of team that's against anybody." She raised herself up. "And it's the same for all people," she said, her voice getting higher. "There's no us against them. We're all us, and we're all them." I scrambled to my feet. When my mom gets like this, my dad calls it going crunchy. He says it's something he really likes about her, that she cares so much about things being fair and right. But I have noticed that he does exactly the same thing. There she is, going crunchy, as Clementine put it. But her dad does the same thing that she does when her mom starts going crunchy, which is get out of the room. But before I could escape all the way, she asked me a good question. "Clementine, can you think of a single reason girls and boys would be on different teams?" I turned at the doorway. "Don't you think all people want the same things?" she went on. "Boys and girls. I'm talking about the big things, the basics, like freedom, and the right to a good place to live." "You mean like a nice home?" "I meant a nice planet, but sure, like a nice home. Clean and safe and comfortable. Do you think boys and girls are on different teams about wanting that? Or how about the chance to grow up to be whatever you want? Like the chance to be a musician, or a carpenter, or a nurse. It shouldn't matter if you're a girl or a boy for any of that, should it?" I sighed and sat down on the arm of the couch. This was going to take a while. "And since everyone wants to eat food, don't you think both girls and boys should help prepare it? We're not on different teams about that, right?" Thinking about food made me remember about Thursday, about how bad it was going to be to have to eat with the 4th graders. My mom was wrong that people weren't on different teams against each other. The fourth graders and the third graders sure were. So you see, my mom was saying, human beings aren't on different teams, are they? I figured my mom had it bad enough with her lungs being squashed without having her heart crushed too. So I just said, sure, I guess. Thanks for explaining that. Then I picked up my drawing and erased the pencil lines down my mom's sides. I redrew them, so they went in instead of out at the middle, even though usually I like to draw things the true way they are. Then I signed my drawing and gave it to her. Anyway, I said, I still don't know which I want the baby to be. Just as well, my mother said. We don't get to decide anyway. She looked at my drawing and smiled. I appreciate the waist, she said. If we were on teams, Clementine, I'd make you the captain of mine. Just then, Snap-pea woke up from his nap, and my mother went in to get him. I'm going to check on my apple tree, I called out. I filled the watering can and left. In the lobby, I found my father cleaning out the display case. I put the watering can down. What are we decorating for this month? Oh, April is jam-packed, my dad said. It's National Poetry Month, National Welding Month, National Humor Month, and a whole bunch more. It was a tough choice. So what did you decide? My dad pointed to a cardboard box on the floor next to a pile of plastic branches. It was full of brown plastic nuts. National Pecan Month, my dad said. I'm going to stick them onto these branches. Really? I asked. Pecans get their own month? The pecan is the only nut tree native to North America, said my dad. Of course it gets its own month. Its own day, too. The 14th is National Pecan Day. My dad handed me his list of holidays. Besides the monthly ones, he decorates for some of the daily ones, too. He lets me choose one each month. April is packed, I said, and confusing. The 4th is Tell-a-Lie Day, but the 30th is National Honesty Day. I read down the list. As usual, the not choosing part was the worst. Blame Someone Else Day, Juggler's Day, and Cheeseball Day were all hard to pass up. But then I found the perfect one. April 8th is National Draw a Bird Day. I'll do that one. We got to working on sticking the nuts onto the branches. Just as I hung up a pecans are popping sign, the elevator gears whirred behind us. There they are, putting those pecans on the branches. I dropped the tape and spun around because elevator doors are like game show prize doors. Until they open, you never know what valuable stuff is hiding behind them. Okay, fine. In our building, it's usually just the same old people riding up and down from their condos. But once I thought I recognized a man from the post office's most wanted poster, and once I definitely saw a woman carrying a mannequin's leg in a grocery store bag. So, you never know. Also, I watch the elevator doors because sometimes it is Mitchell who gets out, which does N-O-T not mean he is my boyfriend. And this time it was Mitchell. He was smiling even harder than usual when he got out of the elevator. Then I saw who was with him. Hey, what are you doing here? I asked. Stuff, Mitchell said. I was asking Waylon, I said. Waylon, what are you doing here? Stuff, Waylon said, glancing up at Mitchell and covering a giggle. A couple of months ago, when Waylon was over to work on our science project, I introduced him to Mitchell. Since then, they have been getting together all the time. They act like they have this big secret project going, but I know what all that is. It's baseball. Waylon is teaching Mitchell the science-ness of it, and Mitchell is teaching him how to actually play. Waylon and Mitchell high-fived their mitts. We're not on teams, you know, I said. Yeah, we are, Mitchell said. Team Vector. He and Waylon bumped mitts again, and then they left. You're not on a team together against me, I said to myself. The elevator doors opened again. This time it was my mother and Swiss Chard. Mom charged over to take a closer look at our decorations. She grabbed hold of her hair and shook her head with it as if she was so upset her neck wouldn't even do that job for her. What on earth? Never seen anything. Lobby full of plastic, she sputtered. I know, my dad said. It's so beautiful I'm practically speechless too. National Pecan Month might be my finest creation. I don't think that's exactly what the mother was thinking. Where did you even get plastic pecans? My mom asked. She shuddered and backed away from the display case because she feels about plastic the way Margaret feels about germs. My dad beamed. It wasn't easy, let me tell you. I've been searching for years. First I tried. My mom put up both hands. Never mind. I can't bear to hear it. But please, how about a bowl of actual pecans if it's pecan month? How about putting out a bowl of real, crack them and eat them, actual nuts? Isn't that a better way to celebrate? I could go to the store right now and get some. Good idea, Dad said to my mom. He put a hand on my shoulder and picked up my brother. I've got these 2 nuts. You go get us some actual pecans. Are you going to start decorating the lobby with real things now? I asked when my mom was gone. What about the fire codes? He smiled down at me. Probably not. But your mom was about to go crunchy on us. It's a beautiful day out, and I thought she would enjoy a walk. Besides, a bowl of nuts is a nice idea. People will eat them. Dad, why do you call it going crunchy when Mom gets like that? My dad sat down on the lobby bench with coleslaw on his lap and patted the space beside him. Now, have you noticed that Clementine refers to her brother with a whole bunch of different names? That's her little baby brother right there. She's called him coleslaw and Swiss chard just in this chapter. So if there's ever a nonsense word, it's probably the baby brother. Did I ever tell you the story of how I first fell in love with your mother? I sat down because my dad was about 100 stories that end with, I fell in love with your mother that day, and they're all good. Well, he said, we were talking to some friends outside the library. Her hair was flying around, and her arms were waving in the air. She was so worked up, she was practically levitating. She looked so pretty, I could barely pay attention to what she was saying. I just knew it was something about the big problem of food not being crunchy enough. I didn't really see how the world would be a better place with crunchier food, but I fell in love with your mother that day. But Dad, I reminded him, what about the time she made you empty the vacuum cleaner bag because she thought you'd sucked up an ant? I thought you fell in love with her then. And what about when she spit the cherry pits? Well, sure, my dad said. I fell in love with that woman lots of times. And that is the end of our chapter 3. So like I said, we have to remember that those crazy words like coleslaw and Swiss chard are referring to her brother. Otherwise, it doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? And we also learned the origin of going crunchy, but we know that we better get out of the room when Clementine's mom starts going crunchy. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for chapter 4.